Nigel Farage was able to, put a stick in the establishment's eye when it came to Brexit and has never stopped since. And he was doing it for a long time in the European Parliament. And he was part of a conference which was being set up this week, yet it was essentially disrupted, if not closed down completely on its first day. It got back up and running in Brussels on its second day, and Nigel joins us now from London. Under what pretense was the apparent shutting down of a bunch of centre-right people? Why was it shut down by the Mayor of Brussels?
The first venue we booked withdrew on us after threats. The second venue we booked withdrew on us after threats. And by the way, these threats coming from elected mayors. Wow. Saying if you host these people, we will destroy your business. The third venue, a nightclub owned by a Tunisian businessman who wasn't even a Conservative himself, but said he believed in free speech. They towed away his car. They stopped the caterers coming into the building. They threatened to ruin his business, and he held firm. The cops turned up whilst I was on the stage, and I did say to them, if you want me out of here, you're going to have to drag me out. And they sort of lost their nerve and locked the building down. And overnight, we won a victory in the High Court in Belgium. We got the support of the British Prime Minister, the Italian Prime Minister. We got the support of the Belgian Prime Minister. And, of course, the next day, the Hungarian Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, shared the platform. And you know something? I spent many years in Brussels. I was banned from pubs, restaurants, coffee bars. That's real cancel culture. It's rather like communism. If you disagree with the globalist project of ever closer political union, you're mad, bad, and dangerous. So I'd seen this on a personal level against myself. Now the whole world has seen what this place is like, what this mentality is, and we've had big stuff in America on Fox News, New York Times, you name it. And I tell you something, this has now turned into a gigantic victory for free speech, and I think it might mark something of a watershed.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, certainly you remember your experience in Australia where you book an event, people can buy a ticket if they want to, but the people who disagree with you politically promise to picket and carry on, so you get sent the bill. Right, rather than the bill being sent to the protester, you get sent the bill. So this stuff is international, it's multifaceted, multi-levelled. And the Mayor of Brussels, it's all about making sure that, I want to keep people safe because they're trying to keep people safe against the counter-protests. The cancel culture side of it is so absolute for people to understand that we're not talking about somebody not being able to have a television show. We're talking about elected members of parliament not being allowed to gather in a coffee shop in Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And of course, this conference, I mean, you couldn't meet a more peaceable group of people. We have members of European royal families, the Prime Minister of Hungary, academics, businessmen and women. All right, Nigel Farage was there. I know he's the devil. But, generally, a very peaceful bunch. And even the counter-protest was about 5 losers. So you're quite right. You're quite right. I mean, I myself was a victim of the New South Wales police protection racket. There's a big lesson being learned in Brussels, and let's hope it's learned in America, the rest of Europe, and indeed in Australia too. Honestly, Paul, I feel that what's happened in the last 48 hours is actually really good news for free speech. We've won a famous victory.
So, out of interest, was the Labor Party able to skip it in the UK because they're not the party of government, or have you seen people who would disagree with every fibre of your political existence saying, yeah, but he has a right to say something?
The only people really not to come out and condemn what they attempted to do to me whilst I was on stage and the whole conference has been the British Labour Party, who apparently think that a terrible group of people were about to gather. And that shows you that when Mr Starmer becomes, or Sir Keir becomes, our Prime Minister, which he will later on this year, we're headed into a new period of Cromwellian Puritanism, where only certain views will be tolerated. So we don't have too much to look forward to, do we?
No, not quite. Have you been keeping up with not much happening in the Trump trials, but still an awful lot of media hype. He has to sit there all day, every day, the rolling coverage. And I noticed that on MSNBC, one of their hosts actually came out and kind of admitted him having to sit there through the process is part of the punishment. This is a bloke who obviously has been bouncing all over the place, high-level decision-making, you know, every 30 seconds something else to do, to sit and look forward as they slowly but surely go through a jury questionnaire is part of the punishment, and the lefties are loving it.
Yeah, and potentially up to 6 weeks of it. And of course, you know, Donald is the sort of guy, he likes to look at something, make an opinion, do we do something, don't we? Let's act, let's go. He's that kind of guy. Very much an instinctive kind of guy. You know, he looks at you, he likes you, or he doesn't like you. This must be absolute torture for him to go through. Absolute torture. Not even allowed to attend his son Barron's graduation from school. That is how mean-spirited and nasty these judges are. And the whole American judicial system, frankly, has been politicised, corrupted, and looks, I think, truly dreadful to fair-minded Americans and indeed to the rest of the world as well.
Bloody oath. So good to talk to you, Nigel. We'll see you again in your normal spot next week.